We are family. I've got all my wrestlers with me. I'm sorry about that. No, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry that happened. We at Cultaholic are a family. Sam's the harassed and substance-dependent dad, I'm the sexy mum, Jack is our special little guy, and Ross is the uncle who initially improves and then ruins Christmas. It turns out that the wrestling industry is built on family, with there being no better way to make your mark than having a famous surname and a stellar heritage. I'm Adam Pacitti from Cultaholic.com, and here are the top 10 greatest families in wrestling history. Join us. Number 10, the Orton Family. There is a space of 33 years between the first ever WrestleMania and the most recent WrestleMania. What links both shows is that they both prominently feature Ortons. In the main event of Mania 1, Cowboy Bob Orton enacted some difference-making interference in the tag match between the team of Hulk Hogan and Mr. T and Roddy Piper and Paul Orndorff. 33 years later, his son, Randall Keith Orton, won the WWE Championship from Bray Wyatt. Not only were both men fixtures of WWE in their separate eras, but the father and son team even united for a time to battle The Undertaker in a feud that was very, very silly indeed. And of course, lest we forget, Randall is a third-generation superstar, trademark, with his grandfather Bob Orton Sr. being a major player in the NWA and AWA. Number 9, the Hennig Family. From one third-generation superstar to another, Curtis Axel is currently enjoying a minor career renaissance as one half of the entertaining as hell Miztourage. But it's hardly surprising, as to steal a joke that WWE themselves have mercilessly flogged to death, the man's heritage is perfect. Larry the Axe Hennig was his grandpops who wrestled in the old WWF and kindly lent the Axel part of his name. And where does Curtis come from? That would be from his dad, Curt Hennig, aka Mr. Perfect, possibly the greatest wrestler to never win the WWE Championship. Mr. Perfect was bloody brilliant, a psychology genius, a technical wizard, and a fantastic seller. His battles with Bret Hart just by themselves are enough to guarantee the greatness of the Hennig bloodline. Also, his son Curtis is still in the 2015 Royal Rumble, which is an esteemed accolade by itself. Number 8, the Von Erich family. It's a bit difficult to talk about the Von Erichs. On one hand, they were Texan wrestling royalty, Hall of Famers, and had one of the greatest stable rivalries of all time with their feud against the fabulous Freebirds. The patriarch Fritz Von Erich was a big star. He had 6 kids, all boys, and 5 of them, Kevin, Chris, Mike, David, and Kerry, aka the Texas Tornado in WWE, all became wrestlers. And there's even 3 third-generation wrestlers born into the family, Ross, Marshall, and Lacey Von Erich. These accolades make it all the more difficult to talk about the numerous tragedies of the Von Erich family. Without going too deep into the details, Kevin Von Erich is the only surviving son of Fritz Von Erich, with the rest of his brothers dying young, most by their own hand. But their legacy cannot be solely defined by heartbreak. They and their home promotion World Class Championship Wrestling were one of the biggest successes in American wrestling, and that's how we choose to remember the Von Erichs. Number 7, the Flair family. I mean, a family having Ric Flair in it is pretty much enough to guarantee that family a place on this list, even if it was just him sitting alone in the family portrait going woo. But Ric Flair's mighty, mighty balls have produced notable wrestling talent. His son David Flair wrestled in WCW, and you may have heard of his daughter Charlotte, current SmackDown Women's Champion, 1/4 of the infamous Horsewomen, and genuinely one of the most trailblazing women's wrestlers of all time. Zero exaggeration. The Flair genes are very strong and very blonde. Number 6, the Funk family. It's hard to think of a man who's done as much in the world of wrestling as Terry Funk. Whether he was wrestling in Japan, Canada, in the NWA, ECW, WCW, WWE as recently as bloody hell 2006, he's racked up numerous 5-star matches, including famous bouts against Ric Flair and Jerry Lawler, as well as becoming a pioneer and crimson-splattered poster child of hardcore wrestling. Maybe less well remembered by fans, but no less important, is his brother Dory Funk Jr., who first of all invented the Texas Cloverleaf, that's awesome, and was a huge star in the NWA, once holding the heavyweight title for over 4 years straight. The Funks teamed in WWE back in the 80s, are both in the WWE Hall of Fame, and just to round out the family, their father Dory Funk Sr. was a wrestler and promoter in Texas, whose promotion Western State Sports produced some of the best talent of the 80s. Number 5, the Rhodes family. Few surnames in wrestling carry the same emotional weight and sheer wrestling prestige as Rhodes. The passing of Dusty Rhodes sent shockwaves throughout the industry and countless outpourings of love and respect from every corner of the craft. So instrumental was the American dream to both wrestling's past, but also how today's stars and characters have been crafted. Not only was Dusty a gigantic star in the 80s, creating Starrcade decade, booking countless amazing angles for the NWA, but his sons Dustin, aka Goldust, one of the most iconic characters of all time, and Cody, who's currently one of the hottest independent wrestlers on the planet, both carry on the Dream's legacy with accomplishment and pride. Number 4, the Guerrero Family. While the Guerrero name obviously means a lot to North American audiences familiar with the unparalleled genius that was Eddie Guerrero and the underrated talent of Chavo Guerrero Jr., it's difficult to get it across to you if you don't know just how much that name means in Mexico. The patriarch of the family, Gory Guerrero, was one of the biggest stars in the history of Lucha Libre. The dude invented the camel clutch, the Gory special, and was in a tag team with El Santo, who was, and there's no hyperbole here, the Mexican equivalent of Superman. That's how much of a cultural sensation he was. Gory was Mexican royalty, and his sons Mando, Hector, Chavo Sr., and of course Eddie all became notable stars in their own right, with the latter remaining one of the most cherished personalities the industry has ever known. Number 3, the Anawadi Family. Simply put, if you've ever seen a Samoan wrestler in WWE, chances are they were in some way related to the Anawadi family, with the sole exception of Samoa Joe, the really grumpy exception that proves the rule. The family is a wrestler assembly line, producing star quality with scary regularity. Stars like The Rock, Roman Reigns, Yokozuna, Umaga, Rosie, Rikishi, the Usos, the Head Shrinkers, the Wild Samoans, and High Chief Peter Maivia. 3 WWE champions in one family is pretty unheard of, and with the abundance of Roman Reigns, the Dubs' reliance on the Anawadis shows very few signs of abating. Number 2, the Hart Family. Stu Hart was the name in Canadian wrestling. Not only did he have a voice that launched 1,000 imitations, but he founded Stampede Wrestling, the most impactful promotion in Canada's history. Also, he had an infamous wrestling school, The Dungeon, and his trainees include Fritz Von Erich, Chris Jericho, Edge, Christian, Chris Benoit, Billy Graham, Jushin Thunder Liger. That's a pretty important list of names right there. Oh, and there's the small matter of fact that he signed Brett and Owen, 2 of the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. Not only is the Hart bloodline pure gold, but the extended family includes the British Bulldog, Jim the Anvil Neidhart, David Hart Smith, Natalia, and they're not exactly unimportant in the world of wrestling either. Simply put, contemporary professional wrestling would look very different without the Harts. Number 1, the McMahon Family. Duh. Only the most delusional of wrestling hipsters could deny that basically to the world at large, WWE is professional wrestling. They're the industry leader, the flagship, they're pretty much the entire sport in terms of revenue, mainstream appeal, cultural impact, and it's a family company. Vince bought it from his father, Vince Sr., who himself inherited it from his father, Jesse, and to this day, Vince, Linda, Shane, Stephanie, and stepson Paul Triple H Levesque comprise the most influential, powerful, and wealthy family in the history of professional wrestling, with their legacy seemingly secure for generations to come. And that's our list. Did we miss any out? Tell us about it in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe. You can pledge to us on Patreon here. But most importantly, don't forget to join us.